Welcome, everybody. Welcome, friends, welcome, family, but also welcome to the partners that have helped us throughout this year. Today marks the day of a very special occasion, because today, Solar Team Eindhoven is going to reveal Stella Juva, the world's first solar-powered ambulance for the very first time. My name is Ruben, and together with Jarno, I will be taking you on a journey all the way from the beginning of Solar Team Eindhoven to this exact moment. We live in a world with unreliable energy grids, with fuel prices that are skyrocketing, with a healthcare system that is not completely up to standard, but also a climate that is rapidly changing. And all of these problems call for action. That's why last September 2025, a group of 23 students started with a blank piece of paper. After designing, after producing, after integrating and testing, we arrived at this exact moment.
Now, 11 months later, we arrived here at the Midden-Nederland Halle. This beautiful greenhouse was once part of the Floriade in Almere. This was an exhibition for all kinds of flowers. But after the exhibition, this greenhouse was planned to be scrapped. The Midden-Nederland Halle decided that this greenhouse should not go to waste, which is why they transformed it into this beautiful event location. Combining that with over 5,000 solar panels, a thermal heat storage system, and battery packs, it allows this location to be CO2 neutral, and this event might be even energy positive. Now, we want to thank the Midden-Nederland Halle for allowing us to present Stella Juva here today. But before we do that, we want to take you across our journey.
And to do that, we need to go back 14 years, to the summer of 2012. Because in the summer of 2012, Lex Hoefsloot and Roy Kobbenhagen, the founders of Solar Team Eindhoven, started with an idea. We don't want to build a conventional one-seater solar-powered vehicle that participates just in a race for one person. We want to build a family car. Everyone said they couldn't do it, but after 1 year, they participated in the World Solar Challenge with Stella, the world's first solar-powered family car. They participated in this race and actually won it as well.
Then Solar Team Eindhoven pushed solar mobility even further. We made Stella Lux. Stella Lux is the world's first energy positive car. This means that over an entire year, she generates more energy than she uses while driving. Once again, we went to Australia and we became consecutive world champion.
Stella V. V, which means life in French, means a car for everyday life. This is also the first vehicle that tried to get an RDW, or road legal license, and they actually managed to do that. They also were the first solar-powered 5-seater, which makes the total of Stella V the world's first road-legal solar-powered 5-seater. They again went to Australia and again won the World Solar Challenge.
Then we made Stella Era. And with Stella Era, we wanted to show that cars don't have to be part of the problem, but they can be part of the solution. Stella Era, while following the sun, generates so much energy that she not only has enough energy for driving herself, but also enough energy for charging other vehicles, becoming a charging station on wheels.
And in 2020, the team went thinking, are we going to build a racing vehicle again, or are we going to use solar energy for a more practical use? They came up with Stella Vita, a show or a self-sustaining house on wheels. The self-sustaining house on wheels harnesses the energy from the solar panels on top to charge the battery and drive the motors, but also for you to watch TV, take a shower, and set yourself a nice cup of coffee in the morning.
Then we pushed solar mobility even further. We wanted to show that solar mobility is not only limited to the paved roads, but that even off-road terrain can be tackled. So we made Stella Terra, the world's first solar-powered off-roader. Stella Terra offers the possibility to go camping inside of the vehicle, allowing the user to experience complete freedom. The user is independent of charging and road infrastructure, which makes the journey part of the adventure.
And now we've arrived here. A group of 23 students with 12 different study backgrounds, from 3 different nationalities and from 3 different educational institutions. And we all have new ideas and a new vision for the future of solar energy. And before we actually talk about the concept of Stella Juva, I would like to dive into our team first. Our team consists of several sub-departments, and let's take the biggest one to begin with, the mechanical engineers. These mechanical engineers also consist of sub-departments. Let's go into the aerodynamics department. These aerodynamicists work on making the shape of the vehicle as aerodynamic as possible because we want to use all of the energy from the sun and we don't want to waste it on a bad design. Then the structural engineers. They work on the chassis, the roll cage and the battery casing, and they make sure that we have a safe vehicle while also keeping the weight of the vehicle in mind. Then we have the thermal fluid engineer. I might be biased, but this is also a very interesting part of the vehicle because if we want to be efficient, these motors should not overheat. And by having an active cooling system within the car, we can cool these motors down, in which we again save energy that can be used for driving. Then the vehicle dynamics engineers. They work mostly on all the handling parts in the vehicle. So if the vehicle drives, what happens to, for example, the suspension system, to the braking and to the steering system. And lastly, we have the designers. These designers convert the raw work from the mechanical engineers into a beautiful finished product.
Now, we have had a lot of mechanical components, but after all, we are making an electrical car, which means we need electrical engineers. Firstly, we have our photovoltaics engineer, which designs and integrates the solar panel system of our car. With the solar panel, we generate energy from the sun. This energy also needs to be stored somewhere in the vehicle, which is why you have a battery engineer working on how as safely and efficiently as possible we can store this energy. Once this energy is stored within the vehicle, we need to divide it. Each component needs to get the correct current and power to operate at its maximum. Now, after we've done all that, our car has still some auxiliaries. Think, for example, about the lights or our windscreen wipers, which also need power. That is why we have an engineer working on the auxiliaries to make sure they function.
Exactly. So we have a lot of mechanical components and a lot of electrical components in our vehicle. When you put those together, you get absolutely nothing, because the vehicle can actually not drive yet. Nothing in the car communicates with each other, and that's why we have computer science engineers. These computer science engineers use state diagrams and a lot of code to make sure that when I press the gas pedal of the vehicle, the motors actually start spinning, or when I turn on the lights, they actually turn on as well. And they also keep a lot of safety systems in mind. We should not be driving if the battery is overheating, or if the motors are overheating, or when I don't have my seatbelt on.
Lastly, we have the organization department. They make sure that every engineer can perform at their very best. This goes from making the planning and adjusting the many terms where necessary, to keeping track of the finances, maintaining relationships with partners, but also finding new partners, and organizing events such as this one today.
Okay, enough about the team. Let's actually move on to the concept of Stella Juva. Because last September 2025, these 23 students started with a blank piece of paper, and we needed to decide what we were going to do for the year. We quickly decided on the fact that we wanted to build a vehicle with integrated solar panels, but we also decided on the fact we would not only use this energy for just a recreational or solely a practical use, but also for a more societal impact. That's why we had to change the way that we worked. We didn't only reach out to, for example, technical partners, but also to non-governmental organizations, or NGOs in short. By listening to both the technical partners and these non-governmental organizations, we shaped the concept of Stella Juva. Because when listening to the wants, needs and problems that these NGOs face in the field, we can actually find out what needs to be changed to the current ambulances that are driving around the world.
Yeah, and one of the most recurring issues they highlighted was their dependency on fossil fuels and electricity to provide consistent healthcare. Energy or fossil fuels should not limit your ability to deliver healthcare. This became one of our key motivations behind this whole project. We wanted to show that innovative technology is not only sustainable, but it can also help solve societal issues. That is why, after many discussions with these NGOs, with our partners and within the team, we came up to the concept of Stella Juva, which we presented last December. Stella Juva is the world's first solar-powered ambulance. This is an ambulance designed to deliver healthcare in remote regions to those who need it the most. With its integrated solar panels, Stella Juva not only generates enough energy for powering itself, so driving, but she also has enough energy left to power all the medical equipment on board. Stella Juva is not your traditional ambulance. It isn't an ambulance that takes a patient to a hospital, rather it brings care to the patient itself. Combining that with her off-road capabilities, it allows Stella Juva to reach places most vehicles cannot.
But why do this? Is it just a challenge to ourselves, or is it also to inspire the industry? And we want to do the latter. Because what we want to do with Stella Juva is to inspire healthcare practitioners. We want to inspire tech companies and societal organizations to work together to use technology to solve real-world problems. Not the ones that you see on the news every day, but problems that Stella Juva will actually solve. And I've already talked a lot about that we work together with non-governmental organizations. And I'm proud to announce that Amref Health Africa is one of Team 26's biggest partners, which means that by listening to their problems, their wants and their needs, we actually shaped the concept of Stella Juva. And thereby, I would like to invite Femke Maurits from Amref Health Africa onto the stage.
Ja, doet u het? Super, dankjewel jongens. Thank you everyone. My name is Femke Maurits. I work at Amref Health Africa. Pleasure to meet you all here today. In a minute I'll tell you a little bit more about what Amref does. But for now I would like to introduce you to HAMI. And I would like to take you into the reality that HAMI works in every day. It's a reality where the nearest hospital is kilometers away and will take you hours walking by foot. And yes, by foot, because there is no public transportation and fuel is simply too expensive. Hami works as a healthcare worker, tirelessly every day to serve her community in the northern part of Kenya. She works in Marsabit. And Marsabit is an area twice the size of the Netherlands, yet here in the Netherlands we have over 1,000 hospitals and health clinics to visit. In Marsabit only has 50. If you understand the reality in which Hami works every day, maybe you can understand a bit better why still 1 out of 2 people in Africa do not have access to the healthcare that they need. And that's what we at Amref Health Africa are trying to contribute to, that everyone, everywhere has access to healthcare, especially people living in remote areas. We've been doing this for almost 70 years now, and I am proud to say that we are the biggest healthcare organization in Africa. As an African-led organization, we work closely together with the communities we serve and work every day to create tangible, practical, but especially locally designed solutions that work in the African context. While working in remote areas, we come across many challenges. One of the biggest challenges is access to simple commodities like electricity and fuel. In healthcare, electricity is not a luxury item, it's a necessity. An operating table needs lights, medical tools need to be powered, and vaccinations need to be stored in a refrigerator. A healthcare worker that cannot rely on durable energy cannot secure the safety of his patients. Healthcare is a human right. Lacking energy and safe electricity challenge that basic human need. But specifically, this is lacking in remote area, a reliable energy source. Clinics and field hospitals cannot guarantee which health services they provide on any given day, and some health services are simply not able to be executed. As a result, patients delay seeking for help, and simple medical issues become chronic conditions, threatening patients' lives, but also their livelihoods, because finances run up easily if you do not have the ability to go to a doctor when you need to. In our efforts to reach the most unreachable, Amref Health Africa deploys mobile clinics. It helps us to bridge the gap in the distance and provide basic medical needs to remote villages, like maternal health and vaccinations for children. But in employing these mobile clinics, we run into new challenges. Rising fuel prices, there's no gas available in the area, there's no electrical grid to help function the medical tools we need. And that's why we're proud to work together with Solar Team Eindhoven and innovations like the Stella Juva. Africa is a continent that's energetic, full of potential. It's a place where entrepreneurship can thrive. Technical solutions and innovations like mobile solar can help build tangible solutions to real-life health challenges. Together with Solar Team Eindhoven, we work at the mission of AMREF, bringing healthcare to everyone, everywhere. Thank you.
So, with this information from AMREF, we took our pen, blank piece of A4 paper, laptop, and designing software to set up requirements for Stella Juva. These requirements were our guidelines throughout the whole process to check whether Stella Juva was still up to standard for delivering this healthcare. With these requirements, we went into our designing phase. In this designing phase, we designed every aspect of the car from scratch to make sure it is as efficient as possible so that we have enough energy left for providing the electricity to the medical equipment. During this phase, we not only looked at how the vehicle dynamics should be or how aerodynamic it should be, but we also looked at how we wanted to design our electrical systems to make sure they are reliable enough such that the medical equipment always gets the power it needs.
Exactly. And because we're not just designing a prototype, we're also building one, we went onto the producing phase, where we produced every component that we've designed in the first phase. In this production phase, we went from laying fiberglass in our own molds to crimping and soldering cables for our controllers. We made cooling systems, we made suspension systems. But as you can imagine, this led to a lot of separate parts. And we actually need to integrate all of these parts into one big package. And that's when we moved on to the integration phase. This integration phase meant a lot of communication between each different department in the team. Because, as you can imagine, just to drive, I need to press the gas pedal. A signal with a cable must be sent to the controller, which is made by an electrical engineer. And then again, a signal is sent to the battery, to the motors. But this motor is again attached to a suspension system, to a cooling system. And as you can imagine, this required a lot of communication. But in the end, we managed to reach a good final product.
So, after we achieved the complete solution, we had to test whether the vehicle worked. This was a truly special moment for the team, because we had to test whether our car performed as we designed it to be all the way back in September, 11 months ago. So, during this testing phase, we went with a car that was barely driving to driving up to speeds of 120 kilometers an hour in a relatively short amount of time. During many testing days, we evaluated every aspect of the car, from vehicle dynamics to aerodynamics, to test how reliable all the electronics were.
And now, after 11 months of working incredibly hard, having some late hours in our production location, days spent in online software, some questionable toasties on Tuesday, but mostly a fun and unique learning experience, we're proud to announce that it's time.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us reveal Stella Juva for the very first time. I know. Okay, so now let us actually reveal Stella Juva for the very first time.
there she is. What a beauty. Stella Juva, the world's first solar-powered ambulance. As you can see by the shape of this vehicle, you can see that the aerodynamics engineers worked very hard on making it like a water droplet, because we want to be as efficient as possible, and a water droplet is the most efficient shape in the universe. With the shell made completely from carbon fiber and glass fiber, we're actually very lightweight as well, and we actually manage to compete very much with regularly used vehicles. As you can see that on top of this vehicle we have 6 square meters of solar panels. And these solar panels actually generate energy not only while standing still, but also while driving. These solar panels have an efficiency of up to 27.5%, which means that by continually pushing innovation, we're actually 15.6% more efficient than the solar panels from last team. And this just shows the amount of innovation that can be done in just a couple of years. Then the energy from the sun needs to be converted to the battery, and that happens with maximum power point trackers, or MPPTs. These MPPTs have been designed by us, and they actually have an efficiency of up to 98%, which is remarkably high, which means that also no energy is being lost, or almost no energy is being lost in the process. Then all of this energy from the sun is stored in the battery underneath, though we have to decide whether we're going to use this energy just for driving, for just the medical equipment, but obviously we want Stella Juva to do both. And that's why we need to have efficient motors. Behind these wheel covers, there are in-wheel motors, which means that there's no drive shaft involved. They're directly in the wheel, and with a cooling system combined, we reach a motor plus inverter efficiency of up to 96%. Almost no energy is being lost in this process. And I've thrown around a lot of numbers, but all of these efficiencies combined lead to a range of 715 kilometers.
Now, this is already quite a beautiful range, but Stella Juva has one more trick under her sleeve. When stationary, we can fold out extra solar panels. These extra solar panels allow us to have a faster charging time, but also allow for more easy access to our medical equipment. One of the medical equipment that we have on board is this mobile X-ray. This mobile X-ray can be used to diagnose tuberculosis, which is one of the most leading death causes in Central Africa. Besides this side panel also allows for easy access to our medical cabinet, where more medical equipment is being stored, such as an ultrasound. Now, moving on to the trunk of the car, we have a foldable tent that can fold out of the vehicle. This tent will be folded out after the vehicle presentation, but you can already see what it looks like. This tent provides extra privacy and more shade while using the vehicle while being stationary. Besides this, in the trunk, we also have the cooling box Femke already talked about, to keep vaccines and medicine more cooled. Along with that, we have more off-road equipment to make sure that Stella Juva can actually reach the most difficult places on Earth.
Yeah, and to reach these places, we not only require those medical equipments, but we also require good vehicle dynamics. And that's why we have 30 centimeters of ground clearance under this car, which competes with a Jeep Wrangler or with a Toyota Land Cruiser. Besides that, we have an active suspension system, which is very unique. We are able to, within the car, change the stiffness of our springs and dampers, and that means that we can provide a more comfortable riding experience while going off-road. As you can imagine, you have less range when going off-road, but it doesn't actually reduce that much, because with these solar panels and with our lightweight car, we're able to still reach 350 kilometers of off-road range. And it's only valid to, after we've designed this vehicle, to go testing it as well, because it was designed for Central Africa, but where are we going to test such a vehicle in the Netherlands? Kenya. It is a country with a lot of off-grid hospitals, with dispensaries, but also possibilities to go off-roading, which makes it the perfect place to actually test Stella Juva. In August of 2026, a couple of weeks from now, we will embark on a journey in which we will go test Stella Juva to its absolute limits, both in the off-roading section, but also in the medical equipment part. We will kick off this journey through Kenya at the UMREF International University, just outside of Nairobi. This university was built last year with one goal and one goal only: to increase the quality and the quantity of healthcare practitioners in Africa, which perfectly aligns with the concept of Stella Juva. Here we will have a kickoff We will have a kickoff with people from AMREF. We will have a kickoff with people from the Dutch embassy in Kenya, but also people from the Kenyan government. And this shows the innovation that is being done in the Netherlands to improve, for example, healthcare in Kenya.
Now, after this official kickoff, it's time to drive our first kilometers in Kenya, where we will drive to Naivasha. Through the Kenyan tea fields, with some steep climbs and steep descents, we will arrive in Naivasha, where we will go off-roading for the first time. We will tackle mud, gravel, hills and sand terrains to show that Stella Juva can actually drive in the conditions she is designed to be.
And after solely testing for these off-road capabilities, we would also like to test whether it completes the whole package. So that's why we were going to Narok. Around Narok there are a lot of dispensaries. And these dispensaries mean off-grid hospitals, but they're not the conventional hospitals that you know from here in the Netherlands. That's why we will be testing our vehicle there. First, we will go off-roading on some of the most off-road roads that you can imagine. And then, while using the energy from the sun, we can actually work out our medical equipment on simulated patients.
Now, after all, it's also important to show how many kilometers Stella Juva can drive, which is why we will do some endurance testing from Narok to the foot of the Mount Kilimanjaro. At the Mount Kilimanjaro, this will not only mark our journey in Kenya, but it will also mark our end of our journey we started 11 months ago in Eindhoven.
Exactly, and to follow our journey through Kenya, we kindly like to, not yet, but to invite you to scan the QR code after this presentation so you can follow our polar steps, or what we actually would like to call it, solar steps. Here you can see all the problems that we may face, some of the off-road roads that we are tackling, the judgment from the doctors from AMREF that will be going with us, and many more.
Now, before we end this presentation, we would like to invite you to a drink afterwards, at which you can see Stella Juva up close, talk to the team members who made her, find out more details, hidden features, and many more. Along with that, we bought some of our other solar vehicles that we have made in the past. We have Stella Erwa, which is our last car that participated in the World Solar Challenge in Australia. We brought along Stella Vita, which is our self-sustaining house on wheels. And we brought along Stella Terra, the world's first solar-powered off-roader. And we have one more special vehicle that we brought along. We have this ambulance all the way in the back, which is 30 years old, from the Red Cross, which showed how healthcare was being delivered in the past. It offers a good comparison to the vehicle we have built today.
And with that, I would like to end, or preliminary end, this unveiling. Because before we do that, we actually need to go back to the problems that I mentioned in the beginning. Take, for example, the unreliable energy grids, the skyrocketing fuel prices, the healthcare system that is not completely up to standard, and the rapidly changing climate. We at Solar Team Eindhoven, with Stella Juva, world's first solar-powered ambulance, are contributing towards solving some of these problems, and we are continually pushing the industry to do this as well. And with that, I would like to end this unveiling and ask Team 26 to come forward so we can officially close this presentation.